Greetings and welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow hosts Johnny Poulos and Kim Ponticello. Legally, Kim Ponticello. We're very pleased by this development, and I see you've got Hummus back there keeping you company.
Is he back here? Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. No doubt Abby's probably not far behind there.
That's a kitty.
There's Dog.
I was gonna say the kid. That's a kitty. It's about to pass the fuck out.
That's just him on every minute of every day.
And that's cats.
Unless he's biting me, and he's an orange cat.
The orange cats do that.
Oh yeah.
Kim, welcome in. How are you doing? How are you?
I am, you know what? I am good. I had like a little bit of anxiety this morning because I've started stepping out of my comfort zone and like just, like my entire life, I grew up in a very traditional Italian family, and it's like, stop speaking so much. Don't be so like, don't say what you want. Like you have to like keep it low key, right? And so the kids and the women, like, shh. So lately I'm like, well, I can't because of my business. Like, I'm a streamer. I can't be like that. And so I've started like, first of all, I've started speaking out in terms of like, I've always like set my boundaries, but man, did I set some serious boundaries this week with somebody who came into stream. And then they sent me this big long whisper about how they had to go to therapy because of me. And then and then I've actually been like contacting people like influence managers and developers and publishers and stuff, and I've just been saying, hey, can I do a giveaway? Hey, do you have this available? Hey, can I do that? Hey, can I do this? Hey, do you ever do this? Hey, get me involved in this. And it's like super anxiety inducing because it's like, I'm just like saying these things, but I have to literally take a step back and remember like the worst that they'll say is like, no. Like, what is it going to do? And the best they'll say is, sure. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's been cool. I've had like a little bit of a breakthrough this week of I can't care anymore. And it's nice.
Welcome to sales. That's literally the thing me and Johnny have both dealt with our whole careers, is like the exact things that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And it is tough to get out of your own way sometimes and just ask for the thing that you want directly. I think it defies human nature, honestly, or human politeness and etiquette.
Yeah,
like it almost feels like you're being rude.
Because like dog training, I was great at it. Like I would literally, somebody was buying hot dogs and I would hear them mention something about their dog and I'd be like, oh, turkey dogs are better. I'm a dog trainer. And like, boom, I'd give them my card because I was selling dog training. And so I think with this, it's like, getting that out of that mindset of it's okay to like sell yourself as your product. Like I can do this for you. And it's weird, but I have to, and I've started doing that, and it's really interesting. And I've had a couple little nice breakthroughs because of it. So it's, I got to just keep it going.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Poulos, man, you look like you've just been relaxing and vegging out.
Right.
Welcome in.
I do have something really cool to share.
Ooh, that's really awesome.
This is a bust of Caesar from the Planet of the Apes. I have a buddy who works at a thrift shop, and he sent me a message of the photo of this thing and was like, hey, should I grab this for you? And I was like, that's one of the dopest things that I've ever seen in my life. So yes, you should grab that for me. It's really awesome. But yeah, before the stream, I'm still working on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I am on a boss fight in chapter 12. And I've been on it for 2 days. And it's one of those fights that is already infuriating, just the way that the fight functions. And then you finally get past the first phase, and the second phase is so much fucking harder to where you just get completely fucking wiped. And like I've gone to the point where I'm like, all right, well, let me restart and go all the way back and change my materia so I have this, or so I have that, and that'll help me get through it. And then it's like the moment I get to phase 2, I get mobbed. And I read guides on what to do, and I learn nothing. Everything I know about the fight is just mechanically. The fight is really hard and really annoying. And I said in Discord chat before the podcast, I would rather beat Returnal 3 more times than attempt this fight 1 more time. And that's how frustrated I am with this fight. So no, earlier I threw my controller down on the sofa, on the nice soft sofa. I've learned from previous years, you don't throw it on the ground, you don't throw it at expensive thing, but you can toss it on the sofa if you need. But you know, it's my own stubbornness for just refusing to just lower the difficulty. I know if I'd put it on easy, I'd beat him the first try and I could move on. But my stubbornness will not let me. So I think after the podcast, I'm just gonna deal with it and get him beaten.
Please stream this so I can mock you the entire time.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Please,
for specifically that reason.
But when I mock you, you get
know
money.
I'd be there cheering you on.
To listeners that aren't aware, like one of Mike's biggest enjoyments in life is Angry Johnny. Like Angry Johnny fuels him in a way that so few things in his life do. And it makes it so much more infuriating for me knowing that he's enjoying it so much. So that's why he's like, please stream it, because I know he's just going to love every second of me losing my fucking mind on this fight.
Like, it's at least equal to well-buttered movie popcorn in terms of the enjoyment that I get from it. That's somewhere
strange, man. That's strange.
I don't think it's so like if I could show anyone that thinks I have a problem because of this behavior, if I could just sit them down and show them the catalog of clips I've taken of Johnny, I don't think they would disagree with me.
Yeah.
Because it's like that same energy that, what was that dude, Boogie, had making YouTube videos. He made like millions of dollars just like flipping out. But that was all a shtick, right? That was fake. With Johnny, that shit is real. You're watching it happen in real time.
I think it's so common for people to love to watch streamers lose their shit.
Uh-huh. See, I mean, I could make it my brand, but I'd have to like buy a new controller every other day.
Yeah, no.
Well, I got you covered on that. I bought you the thing.
I do have
the rage bumper.
Yeah, that's right here.
That's right.
So your controllers are safe at the moment. Friend.
Do your hands get sweaty in that thing?
I don't actually use it, but I'm.
Oh. You might.
He'll use it ironically.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sure. I will use it ironically after podcast.
Well, I have great news this week, guys, and that is that I only had one band rehearsal this entire week.
Wow!
Awesome.
So I actually like had time to play games and stuff. So we're gonna jump in to a bunch of games and things, and not have to listen to about me doing this forward of, oh, I'm so busy, oh, I'm so tired. Poor Mike Dawson. Ugh. There's none of that this week. Unless I really wanted to, but I don't.
Gamer Mike Dawson's back?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is episode 159 of your Power Gamer podcast. We appreciate the kindness and support that you showed us over the past week with our previous episode. You can check us out on YouTube if you're checking us out there. In addition to your trolly comments, please like and subscribe to our channel. For all of you listening to us out in the audio realms, our nice follower base on Spotify and Apple, the place that gives me hope every week when I look at our metrics and go, they haven't gone anywhere. We're doing something right.
Good.
Thank you for your support, and please continue
awesome.
to leave us your kind reviews on those platforms, as it does help with our visibility. Kim, Johnny, it's time to get into our first talking point this week. I have made no bones that I'm a pretty fansy person when it comes to Assassin's Creed. I played most of those games, and one of the most common threads throughout the history of this game, after the first few titles, I would say, is when are they going to do one in Japan? Japan would be such a good setting for this. When are we doing one in Japan? And there have been 14 major entries into the Assassin's Creed franchise with no Japan until now. That's right. Assassin's Creed is finally bringing it to Japan. A new trailer was released upon the world. Is it a bunch of rendered goodness? Yeah, it is. I mean, it looks like it's fueled off the game engine. But a very nice looking trailer came out announcing officially Assassin's Creed Shadows. We met our main protagonist. We got to see some of the world. I will say Assassin's Creed has a history of putting out really nice trailers. And so this was also a really nice trailer. I'm curious to learn more ahead of this game's release. What kind of Assassin's Creed game this is going to be. Are we looking at the big RPG? Are we looking at the trimmed down Mirage? Or are we going to strike a balance in between? Or is it going to just be something kind of different? Assassin's Creed, usually, I can't think of a time before this one where you could all... I call it the latter trilogy, the Origin, Odyssey, Valhalla, that block of Assassin's Creed, the RPG trilogy, if you will. There was some character choice in Odyssey and Valhalla, but it wasn't that you were distinctly picking between two actually like different characters that had their own places in the world. I mean, there was a little bit of that to Odyssey. But Valhalla, I mean, it was a straight up, you're Eivor. Are you guy Eivor? Are you girl Eivor? Are you fluid Eivor that changes based on where and what realm that you're in? Assassin's Creed Shadow, on the other hand, seems to have introduced two actual characters, which is cool. Now, it's Ubisoft. They've made an announcement. And there's controversy. There's controversy around these characters. And I'm kind of interested to see what our fellow hosts here think of this controversy. Most of it resolves around a figure named Yaska, who is a historical figure of some relevance. I mean, there's been some Netflix shows that are like real fast and loose and completely fictional that use the character. Johnny, the actor who portrayed, I'm just blanking right now all of a sudden. The actor who portrayed Black Panther that passed away. Chadwick Boseman. He was actually cast to play in a movie about Yaska, and before he passed away. So there's been some relevance about this character in the years leading up. He's a known historical figure of some consequence. But the inclusion here as one of the characters that you play as in Assassin's Creed Shadows seems to legitimately drawn out the controversy, where it's not just a silent or loud minority of people talking about it. It seems like everyone in the news groups and all over Twitter, I mean, major figures, not just random trolls, are chiming in on Yaska's inclusion in the game. Now, for those unaware, historically speaking, the story goes a little something like he was a black servant and or slave to a Portuguese figure that came to Japan and came under service to one of the major clan leaders in Japan at the time. This is the feudal era, so like 16th century Japan. And did some things. Was enlisted. Anyone who fought for one of the leaders in Japan was considered samurai. I mean, there wasn't really like a big thing to it. And so the game introduces him as a character, and I mean, people are kind of losing their shit about it. So, let's see, Johnny, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
I guess Assassin's Creed Shadow. There's a lot to say because, you know, big fancy shiny new trailer, a lot of controversy. I don't know where you want to go with it, but
sure.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I thought the trailer was great. I thought the graphics were crazy. Like the character models in that were some of the best I've seen. Ubisoft is kind of appears to be kind of leading the way in a lot of this next gen stuff. I mean, with how good the Star Wars game looks, and then now this, they're kind of on the bleeding edge as far as character models, in my opinion. I think they're really doing well. But as far as the controversy of Yasuke, personally, I think it's a little silly because Assassin's Creed has always played fast and loose with real historical figures. I mean, nearly every Assassin's Creed game features actual people that existed back in the times that you're visiting, and nobody gets mad at that. So it's like we're now mad because it's a black protagonist. I mean, I understand that Black Samurai, your first thought is, okay, but like, was there? And then, I mean, and I'll admit, when I first saw the trailer, I had that thought of like, that does seem a little strange. But then when they revealed that it's based on a real person, and I did a little bit of research on who that person was and their history, and I saw that there's been many fictional stories about the first, notable black person in Japan ever, which is kind of a fascinating subject. So, and I mean, in the trailer, he's waving a big ass weapon, which seems like fun. I sort of took this trailer as like, this is going to be a dual protagonist thing, like Spider-Man 2. I don't know if it's going to be maybe switch back and forth, but I do feel like you're going to be playing as both characters, and I got the feel that both will have a very different play style. Every time we're shown Naoe, she's very stealthy, very, Assassin's Creed, hiding in the shadows, sneaking out, being sneaky. And then we see Yasuke, and he comes out with a gigantic club and just completely clobbers this dude. Seems awesome. I mean, I saw the trailer. I thought it looked fun, and I knew that the internet would be upset about it, and the internet is upset about it. I'm not upset about it. I think the game looks awesome.
There we go. Sorry, I was fighting with my mute button there.
No problem.
Yeah, no, the controversy around this is, or at least the general sentiment from those who are upset is, it took 14 entries in the series to bring us to Japan, and you put in a black character. And so where that controversy stems for, of course, is the crowd that says, "Oh, here we go. This is just some woke bullshit. We're forcing this in to the equation." Here's the thing with it, or at least a snippet of my take is, you do have to kind of step back and ask yourself, okay, there's obviously something to this. There's obviously something to the decision making of picking this character, right? And the other character is female. Not saying either is good or bad, but there's something to it. And it's Ubisoft has got to at least take some ownership of understanding people are going to notice. That's kind of my outlook on it. Is I don't think it's wrong for somebody to look at it and go, I noticed this, but I do think, there's been a little bit of back into this where it's like, if you say you notice, then people come after you for noticing, which just seems to be dumping more fuel into
Right.
into what's going on online, into the conversation surrounding this. I think it's okay to notice. You go, okay, yep, I see what they're doing. Is it ham-fisted? Is it heavy-handed? I don't know that I'd go that far. But it is noticeable that this is the choice that they've made. Kim, let me bring this over to you. Do you have, I mean, there's a whole lot to dig into here because there's a big game announcement. So I don't know if you want to talk about Yaska and the controversy surrounding their inclusion, or just the game trailer. But what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm excited for the game. I haven't played any of the big open world. I haven't played any of the newer Assassin's Creed games, but I'm definitely going to be playing this one. As far as the controversy, I kind of enjoy it because the people who are bent about it are people who I really like to see bent about shit like this. Just because I'm like that. Like, I'm watching everything and I'm like, these poor entitled white boys have to choose between playing a woman or a black guy. And I'm like, you poor thing, you poor baby. I played as white men for how long? You know what I mean? I don't understand the controversy, because in the end, it's a game, right? I mean, for fuck's sake, we play games as cats that can carry swords. We play games as fucking dogs that carry machine guns. Why is it a big fucking deal if it's a woman or a black samurai? Or like, I literally don't understand. There were female ninjas in history. There was a black samurai in history. There were black dudes, cowboys in the Wild West. Like, I don't understand. Like, people tend to think that our history is all white. And people tend to think that all Asian history is all purely male dominated Asian men, but there were other cultures because of everything that was taking place around the world, you know? And so I don't know. I think people are just so hung up and they're so ready to be angry about everything. And it's like, for fuck's sake, it's just a fucking game. Have fun.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there like enough going on in the world that isn't there enough that you can just set everything aside and say, oh, look, another cool game is coming out. Yay.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand it. And all the controversy about the whole LGBTQIA aspect of it, fucking get over it, dude. There have been homosexuals forever. Like, literally, cavemen were fucking cavemen. It's been here forever. Like, just because your tiny little brain can't handle that doesn't mean it's a woke thing. It should be normal because it's been here forever and ever and ever. For fuck's sake, the goddamn samurais usually had relationships with their apprentices. Like, it is what it is. Like that's part of like our human nature and human culture forever. And so that aspect of it blows my mind because it's like just fucking calm down. Take a deep breath and say, cool, our entitled asses are getting another fucking game we can play.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And to give you a little bit of a comment shield here too, just to underline something that you just said, it was actually expected of samurai to have same-sex relations with their masters. I know that's going to sound mind-blowing to people in 2024 that back in, you know, the 16th, 17th century and before, but that was a large part of Japanese culture. And even prostitution was predominantly, you know, there was a large male sect to that in Japan in those times. So, like a figure like Yaska in real history would have been expected to have relations with his master, although somewhat unlikely because he was quite old when he got to Japan. If we're looking in the historical context. But then just to underline one other thing that you said, Kim, is what Assassin's Creed is and how it plays with history. You know, so is Yaska an old man doing old man things in Japan. No, he's video game characterified. But I think I remember also Leonardo da Vinci building a fucking tank.
Yep.
In Assassin's Creed 2. So
yep.
Nobody seemed to have the Da Vinci apologists didn't come running out. Oh, wait a second. Wait just 1 second. Leonardo da Vinci, he definitely didn't do that.
Yeah.
So,
well,
anyway, I digress. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack
true,
you there,
though.
but just something I wanted to underline before somebody goes, I think you're overstating the homosexuality thing.
No, homosexuality has been huge in every culture for so long. It's not woke. It's literally part of human. Like, literally, it's been there forever and ever and ever. But little pea brains just don't. It's like so wild to me that people think it's this like new thing. All of a sudden, there's so many homosexuals. No, all of a sudden, people are saying like, "Hey, I want to be me." It's not, and plus we have a lot more people on the earth. But like, no, it's not that suddenly people are turning or suddenly people are becoming woke. It's like people are finally able to say like, hey, I am bisexual. Hey, I am homosexual, because they feel like they need to be themselves. And so I don't know. It's like this weird, bizarre mindset of everything has to be like, I mean, honestly, as this may sound terrible, but honestly, I feel like, especially here in the US, it's very, if it's not white, male centered, there's going to be a fucking issue every fucking time. Every time.
And it's getting real old. And I would, to the people that are mad about the protagonists in this game, I would just ask you, were you mad when you saw the movie poster for The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise? Or were you mad at The Great Wall starring Matt Damon?
I know I fucking was.
I was. I saw that poster. I was like, what the
so fucking frustrated.
Like, why don't you put an actual, like, Asian person in that film if you're telling some historical retelling of this thing? I know it wasn't some Tom Cruise looking motherfucker out there, but at least in this Assassin's Creed example, they're taking somebody who was historically in Japan during this period of time. Is it a stretch beyond that? Fine. Yes, it is. But at least it's a real person.
I'll interject here because I think, and this probably too is just a bit more of my own understanding of some of the stories and historical happenings in the area. So like Tom Cruise, Last Samurai, all that is based on a real person. And to me it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. It doesn't fucking matter if it's a white person or a black person. And that's where I want people to get their minds to, is it's not bad because it's a white person, just as it's not bad because it's a black person, or just as it's not bad because it's not an Asian person.
But did the real person have a tooth in the center of their mouth instead of having...
So, like Neo, for example, this is that same character played over and over and over again. The English person who came to feudal Japan, John, whatever the hell his name was, during that period in the 17th century. The whole show Shogun that just ran on Hulu centers around that same character. And that's actually a great show to watch if you like want to get a slightly better take on the character. And
did you know that he had to teach everybody like primitive Japanese? It wasn't. It was like old school Japanese for those times. It wasn't traditional Japanese.
Oh yeah,
pretty amazing. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I actually really like the Netflix show if you guys haven't watched it, but they treat him like fucking shit, and it's awesome.
They really do, yeah. It's crazy.
But and you imagine a figure like Yasuka probably went through somewhat similar things on the way up, because Japan wasn't really affected by outside influence until much later, and they were strong. So, here's kind of my full outlook on this thing. Is I do have a little bit of a split opinion on this, and some observances. So, observance number one is it's not just the mouth breathing regular crowd from America that's upset about this. And I do want to put some acknowledgement out there that I'm at least getting the full picture of what people are talking about. And I mean, Ubisoft has just straight turned the comments off in the Asian regions for a lot of these conversations. Because particularly in that part of the world, there is probably more outrage and less understanding over the whole Yaska thing. So I want to put that out there. Not saying that makes them right or wrong either. But I think it all comes down to this. And it ties into what I was saying earlier. Is I don't personally care that this is the character that they wanted to go with. It's interesting, okay? There have been so many games. If people wanted to be upset about something, be upset about whenever there is Asian representation in a game, it's always a fucking samurai. You know, games like Ghostwire Tokyo are not the norm, where you have like an original story with someone in modern Japan dealing with real issues. Like, that's, you guys totally have been represented to death as samurai. Just think back even a few years about how many goddamn games there are where you've got the samurai or the Ronin and it's the Asian guy. There's no lack of it. There was a great article on IGN this past week called "Let's Stop Pretending That We Care About the Lack of Asian Representation in Assassin's Creed Shadows." Because, I mean, just off the top of my head, right? You've got Ghost of Tsushima, right? Wolong, Fallen Dynasty, Rise of Ronin. These are all within just the past couple of years. Major games. And I mean, if I really sat down and wanted to make a list, it'd be a mile fucking long. Okay. So it's not like this is the only samurai game to ever have existed. There has never been Asian representation in any of these games. And yeah, we're going to go with Yaska. Fuck you guys. Get fucked. No, that's not what this is. So for people acting like that's what this is, it's not. And I think that's pretty easy to refute. That being said, the other side of this is alluding back to what I was saying earlier. Is I think it's two different things to look at this and notice and understand what their motivation was versus to be offended by it. We all noticed, okay? I don't think anyone didn't look at that and go, wait, is that a black dude? Everyone noticed. So people pretending like it's not okay for you to even notice, or it's not okay for you to say, well, wait a second, is that history or what? And just jumping all over people for noticing. I think those people make the problem worse. Because you're going to notice. Everyone's going to notice that you've selected this. Everyone's going to know that you did this for a reason. And that's fine. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool. I think you've got a good story there. But just get the fuck out in front of it and acknowledge it for what it is. Okay? You pick this person because you want this outcome. You want to tell that story. And that's fine, but just say it. Stop treating people like they're fucking crazy for noticing. You know, whenever these things blow up into these big disproportionate, where it feels like everyone's losing their mind, it can never just be because of one direction. It's because you've got two pushing at each other with no compromise, no give. And that's what's happening here. So I think most people look at this and understand what it is and get it. It's a video game in a series where George Washington was a fucking crazed dictator poisoned by alien apples. For real. Okay, so I don't think anyone's legitimately that hung up on the historical accuracy of how
Right.
involved
I don't
this
think
guy
so
was.
either. Yeah.
Agreed.
Right? Because I didn't hear the George Washington apologist running out of the woodwork, the Da Vinci, he didn't actually build a tank crowd. But so I don't think that's real. I think that's people get that. I want to at least give people enough credit that they understand the series that we're talking about and the liberties that they play, that it's historical touched fiction is
Mhm.
what this whole series has always been.
Always been.
And I think that it's okay to notice. It's okay to go, well, huh, that's not a Japanese dude. What's up with it? It's totally fine to notice. And don't treat people like they're racist just for noticing. There was an intentional decision made to go this route. I don't think it's insidious or heinous or trying to over-represent anybody or any of this crazy shit. I just think it's an interesting story that they're going to tell with this character who, by the way, has been used over and over and over again for that very reason, is because it's fucking interesting.
Yep.
I think it's actually good to notice because it causes people to do a little bit of research a lot of times. You know, like, oh, a female ninja. Wait a minute. Is that right? Were there any female ninjas? Oh, let's do a little bit of research. Oh my God, there were female ninjas. There's actually a term for them. Wait, hold on. A black samurai. Oh my God, there really was a black samurai. Like, I think it's good to notice and do your due diligence and do some research and understand that there are things in history that you don't know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that being said, if anybody jumps into our comment section is like, well, so Yasuka, he wasn't like a super prominent samurai. He didn't go around bashing people with... We
Shut the
get it.
fuck
It's a
up.
game. There weren't aliens fucking controlling George Washington either, okay? And you didn't have to spell that one out for me, okay?
Right.
So if people can just kind of calm down a little bit, look at it for what it is. It's a game. Yasuka isn't some guy that they pulled out of the fucking doldrums, okay? One of the biggest actors in the world was going to play a goddamn movie about it. There's a whole show on Netflix about it. It's not what people are making it who are offended by its inclusion. And it's also not what people are making it that are just shredding people for even noticing. It's right in between. It's a goddamn video game. It's a video game character. And it's an interesting story. It's more interesting. If I just wanted to play Assassin's Creed as a Japanese samurai in Japan, I already have like 300 fucking games where I can do that.
Yep.
And one of them would definitely always be better than anything Ubisoft could make, and that's Ghost of Tsushima.
Amen.
So we really don't need that for the 10,000th time. Moving on from that, just focusing on the game. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I really liked particularly the last two tentpole games, Odyssey and Valhalla. I am super curious to see if it's like pick one of these two characters or if it's a trade-off thing. I would predict it's going to be a trade-off thing where you've got
I think so too, yeah.
stealth missions where you're playing as Naoe. You've got, oh shit, I've been detected. And bust Yasuka with a giant club and starts murdering people. Yeah. So I'm very for that. And of course the setting, we've all been waiting for Japan for a while. Mm-hmm. And particularly like this point in history, Japan is one of the most interesting points of history of any country in the world ever. So I'm really excited for it. Am I going to play it the day it's released? Maybe not. Maybe. We'll see. We'll have to see how I feel. Overshadowing, of course, with all this talk about Yasuka is the price of the game. But I don't think there's really much here to talk about that we didn't already cover with Star Wars Outlaws because it's the exact same thing. 130 for like the all-in version, but just get Ubisoft Plus and do that, or just, you know, these games can take you hundreds of hours to play. So if you're going to be in it for the long haul, maybe just buy it. But otherwise, you can do a subscription, and definitely don't buy it physically, because that disc is going to be a worthless coaster right out of the box because it's Ubisoft. I would also add one final thing to it. Don't pre-order. A lot of the Ubisoft titles in the Assassin's Creed lineup are released in a really shitty spot, usually for like the first week. So, I mean, if you're fine with that, great. But otherwise, maybe don't pre-order it, and kind of get that message across of we see.
Unless you want the pre-order bonuses.
See, that's
and
how they
pre-order and then just wait.
If you know you're just going to end up buying it anyway, you know, whatever. But if you're on the fence at all, just wait for it to come out. If you don't care about the doodads, there'll be plenty. Trust me, there will be plenty of doodads in the shop after you buy the game.
Amen. Yes, there will be.
Kim, anything else you'd like to add on this?
No, I don't think so.
Johnny?
I was more impressed with the trailer than I thought I was going to be. I mean, I went from like, I don't know if I'm going to play the next Assassin's Creed to like, oh yeah, it's happening.
I agree.
Yeah, it was really nice.
The game looks awesome. I mean, I'm in.
Yeah.
Totally in.
Well, let's keep it moving. I'm excited to talk about the games we've been playing this week. Kim, I'm going to come to you first.
Yes.
I'm not going to fulfill the request that you have here on the note sheet. Okay. There will be no murder. What are you playing this week?
So what Mike is talking about is that I am still playing Spongebob, Battle for Bikini Bottom, Rehydrated, and in the note sheets, in the parentheses, it says, kill me now. I'm going to get through this game. I think I have like 4 more spatulas to get, golden spatulas to get before I can move on to the final area. I hope. God, please make it end. But I want to finish it because I want to pick a new game from the bowl, and I'm so stubborn. Could I say, forget it, I'm not finishing this game? Yes. Am I going to? I'm getting close to that point, but I really want to try to finish it. So yeah, I'm still playing that godforsaken game. I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight. I'm hooked on Dead by Daylight again, so I've been playing a lot of that. It's been a lot of fun. We've been really stupid with it, and it's fun being a troll. XDefiant was released, free shooter from Ubisoft, and it's good. It's fun. I don't play COD. I used to, like, way back in the day, but I'm not real big on COD and shooters like that, but it's actually been really, really fun. It's free to play, so it's worth downloading and give it a try. Definitely needs a little bit of work, needs a little bit of balancing, but it is brand new. And it's fun, but I couldn't play a lot of it because, boy, my shoulder was killing me. I played 2 days in a row. I played one day with Revealing Too Much, and then I streamed it the next day and had like some community members come in and stuff, and it's super fun. I'm really, really bad at it. But it's cool. I like it, and it's free, so why not try it, you know? I've been playing a lot of V-Rising, like a lot of V-Rising. They finally released their 1.0, and they added so much to it. And I love the fact that it's such a different type of survival game. There is no cooking food and eating it and drinking it. It's literally just like, oh, look, I found a fighter. Look, there's 4 fighters I can kill. One of them has a brute blood content level of 98. So I'm going to save that one and feed off of it because I need blood anyway. And the building in it is absolutely beautiful, and it's top down, and it's absolutely stunning. The graphics are gorgeous. The combat's super fun, and I've been having an absolute blast with it. Stunlock, thank you. You're amazing. And then finally, I played a game called Harvest Hunt. It It is by Villainous Games Studio, and I really don't know how to describe it. So you are I can't remember what you're called, like a watcher, I think, or something like that. Anyway, you're trying to protect this village from this devourer, right? The art style is amazing. It's like cell shaded, first person, very like, oh my God, it has such a cool art style. And basically, you're trying to grab something, you're trying to grab this herb because that's what your village is. But the devourer is also trying to corrupt them in order to destroy the village. And so you have to try and get these pieces of the devourer, and you do a ritual, and you basically banish the devourer. And it's a daily thing, and you go and you do it day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, you do day 5. And then you move on to the next season. And while you're doing this, you're also collecting cards. So it's also kind of a deck builder. And it's really different and very, very cool. And I'm really digging it because it's just so different. And the graphics are really beautiful. So I encourage everybody to go check it out. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the V Rising, couple ones I'm going to swing back to here. So V Rising, is absolutely blowing up right now in a good way. And it's for those that like kind of the survival and crafting, maybe mixed with a touch of like Diablo. Is that fair?
Yeah.
This game's got some really cool things, and the whole vampire aspect of building your vampire castle is fucking dope. And also just having to deal with light and staying in shadows. Really cool
Garlic,
game.
Silver. Yep.
Really cool game. XDefiant also wanted to swing back on. Ubisoft makes I think people, when they think of Ubisoft, they're always like Assassin's Creed, and forget Far Cry. That Ubisoft forget Rainbow Six sometimes, maybe not as much anymore.
Yeah.
Ubisoft is fucking awesome at first person shooters, and XDefiant is it's Modern Warfare 2, like redone for 2024, basically, with a little bit of that Black Ops 4 energy to it. I think this game is just going to absolutely take over, like on the level of like Apex Legends. I don't know that we're going to get in the Fortnite company with a game like this, but they're definitely going to take some real estate from Call of Duty with this game. With it being free to play, I think that's spot on. That they were able to do this and get this out before Microsoft puts Call of Duty on Game Pass. They're already ahead. They're going to capture a lot of players with this. And what's great is a lot of the complaints Call of Duty players have had with where the series has gone in its multiplayer recently. It's just like a hit list of we're addressing all of that in this game. So I think people are really going to like XDefiant. I think that game's going to end up doing extremely well because it's free to play. You can play it everywhere. And it looks and plays fantastically. So, nice list. Harvest Hunt. I haven't seen you play that or anything. So I haven't been around for that. That kind of looks like horror Borderlands meets.
Yeah, it looks pretty
really cool.
Hunt.
It's a really, really cool game. Yeah.
It looks awesome. Johnny.
Yeah.
Let's switch up and come over to you, sir. What have you been playing this week?
Sure. Well, I needed a break from the games I've been playing, so I jumped over to 2 other games. One of them I only really had like 1.5 sessions with, but it's an indie game that I don't think many people have really talked about. I got it as a part of my Humble Choice subscription however many months ago, and for anybody that doesn't know about Humble Choice, you pay a monthly fee, and then each month you get like 8 or 9 or 10 Steam codes. And you know before your card is charged what those games are going to be. So you can go on and be like, I'm going to sit this month out. Or you can be like, oh, there looks like there's some cool stuff. But one of the games I got from this is a game called Arcade Paradise. Now, the premise for Arcade Paradise is you are a teenage girl trying to go through college, fresh out of high school, and your dad, who owns multiple businesses, is trusting you to run the laundromat. So when the game first starts up, it feels like a gas station simulator almost. So you go in, you pick up the basket of clothes, you put it in the washer, you wait till it's done. When it's done, you take it out, you put it in the dryer, you run the dryer. When that's done, you take them out, fold them, and put them down. While you're waiting for the clothes to do, you're picking up trash, you're emptying the change out of the machines. And then after you've like kind of done this for like maybe 10, 15 minutes, it unlocks the back door. And in the back, there's 3 arcade machines. And those arcade machines are all sort of little tributes to other games. So in the game, you go up to one of them is Grand Theft Auto meets Pac-Man. So you are in a car driving along lanes and picking up little things. And then there's the big thing that you pick up that lets you turn around and run over the cop cars. That's all the game is. And there's another one that's matching things. There's another one that runs this. But so I can tell where this is headed, in that after you go and you empty all the money out of the laundry machines and you empty all the money out of the arcade machines, there's way more money in the arcade machines. So you're like, I know how I can make this fucking business make some money. So the first thing you do is you go on eBay and you buy another arcade machine, and you get to pick which one you want to add. So I've currently only added 1 arcade machine to it. But so not only is it sort of one of those business simulator games, but it also has a lot of fun little retro arcade games that you can play that are also helping your business make money. And that's what it is. So you run a laundromat that I can tell you're eventually going to convert into an arcade game mecca, is probably where it's headed. But again, I'm not very far in it. I don't even know if I'm going to keep on playing it, but for the 3-4 hours I played it, I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's pretty cool. So I played a little bit of that. I'm still working on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. As I mentioned before, I'm kind of stuck on a boss fight right now in chapter 12. I think there's 13 or 14 more chapters. So I know I've said it 3 fucking weeks in a row or 4 weeks in a row that I think I'm close. I really do think I'm close on this game. I'm going to try to beat it this week. But god damn, I'm trying to put this game behind me.
4 years later.
Bro, this game just keeps going. But I mean, I am still really enjoying it. The combat system is great. And yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is awesome, but it's a fucking lot of game. And Kim and Mike will both be proud of me. I have taken down Control. I finally went back, started a fresh playthrough so I could come in completely green, and it got its hooks in me bad. I couldn't stop playing it. I blasted through the whole thing. I blasted through the DLC called The Foundation, which was a motherfucker, by the way. And I'm now working on the Alan Wake DLC. I also took out the fridge boss. For anybody that's not familiar, one of the objects of power is a refrigerator, and inside of that refrigerator is a gigantic boss that's really fucking hard. But I beat him too. This game's an 8.5. It's great for anyone that doesn't have it or has never played it or wants to play Alan Wake 2. I know this is the flag that we've been waving for a long time. I am going to join Kim and Mike on this. This is a must-play before you play Alan Wake 2. I think with how old the original Alan Wake is and how dated it is at this point, I still recommend going back and playing it if you can put on the rose-colored glasses enough to get over that. But if you look at the graphics or you watch somebody stream it and go, I really don't know if I want to do this, you could probably watch a 30-minute YouTube video that would share the story of the game, and I think you could probably be okay. But I really do think you have to play Control, the Alan Wake DLC, before going into Alan Wake 2.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
But this is one of the best super-powered games ever. I mean, as far as like being able to float and levitate and pick up things and take over enemies to have them work on your side and all the different guns and power-ups and shit that you get, the game's a fucking blast. I will say one thing I learned from my second playthrough, because I know I've talked about it before. I'd played maybe 5 or 6 hours, which I didn't realize was probably 2/3 of the game. It's a pretty short game. I beat it in like 8-9 hours. It's pretty quick to actually beat the main game. But whoa, somebody's fucking hauling ass. Was that you, Kim?
Lowrider.
Wow.
We have a lot of lowriders around here.
Man, they were going for it. But what the one thing I learned on my second playthrough, so your gun has different unlocks for different modes that you can get. Unlock Pierce first. The Pierce gun, you hold it for a second, a little bar charges up, and when you let go, if it's a headshot, they're pretty much fucking dead. Almost anything in the game is a one tap with that gun. And I can easily say it is the best gun in the game by far. As soon as I got that unlocked, that's what I used about 90% of the time and still
the
am.
entire time.
I hardly used it.
Oh my god, the Pierce is so good. I couldn't stop using it.
Kim was
an
absolute freak on this game, by the way. Everyone listening. Like, did not struggle with it at all. Any point. Just murdering everything with a build that,
and
like,
laughing the entire time.
I'm like, I don't get, like, after I played and beat the game, I'm like, I don't get this. I don't get how she's so good at this fucking game. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I was a little concerned at first when I was playing it because I was like, maybe I should have put it on hard mode. Like, am I on easy mode? Like, what did I do? Should I put it on hard mode? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I felt like it was way, way, way too easy. But I think I just kind of vibed with it. Like, I think I know I talked about it before, but it had my little brain buzzing, like with all the sounds from the weapons. And I think that's why I didn't use Pierce, because the sound didn't really appeal to me. And I did a lot of throwing. I did a lot of just the things that sounded good and kind of made my brain buzz are the things I did. And I flew. Like, when I tell you, I literally was like, should I turn the difficulty up? What do I do? I just was a beast on that game, but I think it was because I just really enjoyed all the sounds a lot. And so I don't know. That's the only way I don't know what it was.
The sound it makes when you pull an item to you before you throw it is so fucking good.
So good.
A little whoop. It's so satisfying. It's such a great sound.
So good.
But yeah, no, I haven't finished the Alan Wake DLC yet. I really want to do that before I jump into Hellblade 2. I'm going to do Hellblade 2 this week. I know that's a pretty short game. It's about 8 hours, so I'll be able to tell you all next week what I think of it. But I really want to take the Control Alan Wake DLC down. I'll probably do that maybe tomorrow night or the night after. But yeah, Control, especially with how often this thing goes on sale on Steam. If you're a PC gamer, I mean, shit, honestly, when it goes on sale on Steam, it goes on sale everywhere else. You can buy this game for $5 all day long. And if you haven't played it and you like shooters, this is a must play. It's a must play. And it's not very often you get an IP that is so original that you're like, how is this not a movie? Like, of all the stuff that they've done, even though the game is not a huge, massive hit, like, you could have a fucking 8-season TV series.
Yo, Jesse was
about
badass
the Federal Bureau of Control. It's like X-Files on 12. It's awesome. I love it. I love the story. I love the environment. I love the Bureau itself. It's a great game. I really did enjoy it. And I thank you both for making me go back and play it. But yes, Control is down. And I just got to beat the Alan Wake DLC. So that goes to you, Mike. What have you been playing?
Well, as it would turn out, my prediction was correct. And I beat some games. Let's start with Final Fantasy Remake, which I did beat the absolute brakes off of. Man, was I glad for that game to end when it did, because it's too long, and this one's short and it's too long. So I'm coming kind of back around to my original take on the game, which was I dunked on it a little bit. So we'll go full disclosure here. It is good. Is it great? No. Is the combat? Are you gonna have like moments where you're like, this combat's amazing? Yeah. And kind of once you get your build locked in, then it stops being amazing and it just starts being trivial, and you do the same things every time you get into a fight, and it goes back to feeling how it did at the start. So I enjoyed Final Fantasy Remake. I think the pacing is just wrong for this game. You know, that game takes place over a segment that if you're playing the original, and I am going to be that guy that points back to the original, that takes 6 hours. Johnny, I think I remember you saying you took over 70 hours to beat this game.
I'd have to look at my playtime on the PlayStation. Can I log into my Sony account on the computer and tell playtime?
Yeah, you can.
You
I'm
can,
gonna
but
do that
it's
'cause I'm
not
curious.
super accurate if you're looking at PlayStation. You'd be
Right.
better served to look at your save file.
Okay.
Because if you have the game paused,
Yeah.
paused and still up on the screen, the
Still up
timer
on-
will still
yeah.
run.
That's what happened with Rebirth when you were like, "God damn, John, you have like 200 hours in that game." I'm like, "No, it's bad, but it's not
Yeah,
that bad."
it took me 28
That's exactly
hours
what happened.
to beat the first 6 hours of Final Fantasy VII. And let's tackle the good, because the bad is so easy. The goodness is it is beautifully done. The whole world is really brought to life by this remake, for a classic that really needed this treatment. The PS1 version of the game, if you don't have the sharp memory of just how that looked, it is charming. I do appreciate the old PS1 graphics, but this game needed a remake. Did it need a remake that completely changed how the game's played, changed major plot points to no effect, and just drew everything out to be so goddamn long? No, it didn't need that. So I think a fair rating for the game is, all in all, the good of the game, especially when you compare it to other of these like hybrid action RPGs. This is one of the better ones of those. You know, this
Yeah.
beats Harvestella up and takes its lunch money all day, kind of thing. So I feel like it's fair to say the game's an 8, even though I have major personal qualms with it. It's just, you don't need to make games feel like they're long just for the sake of being long. The sewer section in this game just goes on forever for no fucking reason. Shinra Tower is like 3 times longer and half as interesting as it is in the original game. It just feels like there's a lot of bloat. There's a lot of like fights that aren't particularly challenging or interesting that are just sprinkled in. And yeah, it just takes forever to do a fairly small segment of the game, and I don't think the story is delivered in a way that's very compelling. Because if I just wasn't familiar with the story of Final Fantasy VII from the original, I would have no fucking clue what's going on if I had only played Remake. So it's good. It's got nice moments. It's very beautiful. It's well put together. But it has a lot of problems that I feel like people give it the "you're a timeless classic" and they give it that shield where it's like,
Right.
I'm afraid to say anything bad about this. Well, it's not an actual redoing of the original. It's a completely different game using the same characters and kind of the same story. You know, what I would have wanted was an actual just remake the original game. Give it to us once, call it a day, because I am not excited that everyone I'm talking to playing Rebirth is like, "Oh yeah, man, this is like 80 to 120 hours easy." It's like, dude, it took the first time I played Final Fantasy VII, it took me 40 hours to beat it. The original, all 3 discs. Like, it's not that serious. And I hate games that are long just for the sake of being long. So, will I get to Rebirth? Maybe. But I am happy to beat this and have it behind me, because it was kind of dragging on me a bit. So, I am done with Final Fantasy Remake.
I fully agree with your score on Rebirth. I think Rebirth is an 8. I think that's a fair number. Sorry, Remake. But I do think Rebirth is better. I know I keep complaining about how long it is, but I think it's better in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. So I would urge you, when you have the time, you should probably play Rebirth.
Yeah, it'll at least be a year before I want any more of this. So I'm not going to play Rebirth this year. period.
To be fair, neither of you sold me on ever wanting to play these games.
You should never touch these games. I only feel an obligation to because of my love of the original game. I have nothing else driving me towards this. The sales on Rebirth tell the story. It's selling like absolute dog shit. Even though it's critically acclaimed. But it's like, you look at the first game, it's like 30% of people that played it actually beat it. So the baked-in audience for Rebirth, this is why I hate these sequels for this game. This sucks. The baked-in audience to even consider playing Rebirth is only 30% of the people that played Remake.
Because they haven't beat it yet.
And it's diminishing returns every time there's a sequel.
Yep.
So, how many people are going to play whatever the last one is, which they better call Reunion, or I'm going to fucking
It's going to be called
flip
Reunion,
a table.
100%.
For those that played Final Fantasy VII, you know why that is. Anyway, moving on to Dave the Diver. I also beat Dave the Diver. I am also not done with Dave the Diver. No, sir.
Same.
It's so good. It's one of the best games ever. I
need to play
Dave
it.
the Diver
so
is
good, Kim.
so good. It's got an amazing single player campaign tucked into a like diving life simulator / sushi restaurant serving thing / old school Wii like Fruit Ninja shit going on with it. Stardew it's all in this game, and it's all done subtly and well. And it's just a lot of fun to play. It plays great. The graphics are gorgeous. It has one of the best endings ever. And oh, by the way, they just released today a new Godzilla expansion for it, which, oh, by the way, if you're a PlayStation subscriber, you just get it. Just like you just got the game and you just got the Dredge content, and you're just paying your PS Plus and you're just getting all this stuff. Caveat: the Godzilla pack is a time-limited thing. It goes away mid-November, and when it goes away, it's gone.
Oh, does it?
Yep, it's delisted after 6 months. So you need to add it to your account to have it downloaded.
I think is fucking awesome that they wanted to do Godzilla bad enough in this world that they took what they could get, because that's what this is. They got a license to use this for like 6 months. It probably cost them a fucking fortune, and they're like, "Fuck it, I want Godzilla in this game." So there you go. So check that out. Get that. Dave the Diver. It's not without flaws. Okay, I'm not going to rose-colored glasses this game. Some of the farming stuff is monotonous and boring as fuck. Sometimes you're just wanting to push the single-player story, and the game's forcing you to keep playing the day-to-day cycle to wait to keep playing the story. And that's not great, because it's not like there's infinite stuff to do. It's a hard set world of like 3 different iterations of the map that really aren't different at all, that you can spawn into. It's just the center that's a little different sometimes. A couple new regions unlock later in the game that just are as exciting as watching grass grow. They're really limited. So the game's not perfect by any stretch. But if you like, especially like people like Johnny that can get sucked in to the simulator aspects of it, you're gonna have a blast with this game. But so being fair with it, it's good and bad. I'm kind of rating it just from the standpoint of the single player story, the campaign, and that experience. I give Dave the Diver a very solid 8. It does not have the hype of being one of the most legendary games of all time riding on its back to live up to. It is just a solid game that is fun the whole time you're playing it. No matter what you're doing, you'll be having fun. Next up, Animal Well. Okay, I don't have a ton to say about this because I only got to spend a couple hours with Animal Well. First reaction to Animal Well is what the fuck is happening? This is a game that very much just drops you into the world and says, good luck, have fun. Doesn't tell you shit, nothing. I'm all about that. I know some people that's going to drive absolutely insane. It is a combatless Metroidvania where you play as a cute little fluffy running around a well of animals that are trying to fucking kill you. And it's great. It's a puzzle Metroidvania made by one person, which that blows my mind because the game has amazing sound, amazing graphics. I am super interested to spend more time with this game and see where it goes, see if it gets its hooks in me. So I'm going to keep playing Animal Well. Also for you PlayStation people, you just get Animal Well. You don't have to buy it. So take advantage of that. Kim. Indika.
Yes. I've been waiting for this.
I am deep into Indika. I'm like 4 hours in, so I'm probably going to beat that here relatively soon based on what you told me, and I kind of fly through these kinds of games. Man, Indika is wild. Okay? It's not at all what the trailers kind of make it out to look like in the best way possible. It is dark comedy cranked to 10. This game, it is fucking hilarious. And under the guise of Catholic seriousness. The game flies off the tracks almost immediately.
Yes. I'm guessing you enjoyed the communion.
Yes. There's so much I like about this game, and I'm going to have an extraordinary bias towards it because it's the kind of game that I love, where you are solving puzzles. It is a narrative adventure, i.e. kind of a walking simulator. But it's really cool. Indika is a really cool character that, like, if Senua was a comedy, Indika. Okay. That being said, it was made by absolute amateurs. The game is a janky thing of unsurmountable proportions. I have never heard more fucking terrible audio design in a game ever.
Really?
Literally the worst audio design I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Huh.
It's as if the...
Wait, before you say that, did you play the PC version of Prey?
I did not.
Newer
No.
Prey. That would top
Fair
it.
enough.
100% would top it.
I only feel like you could equal it because you couldn't be any worse. So it could equal it.
I think you need to play Prey.
We're talking just straight up basics for audio, like not compressing audio at all in certain segments, but then having it heavily compressed in other. And I mean, I've got a fine ear for this. And it can tell like you just have completely loose audio. To the point where like it's clipping. You know, I'm just like, what the how do you
I don't remember any of that, but maybe I'm just
also
not
on
as
console.
into. Do you have it on PlayStation or PC? Oh, okay.
But,
all right.
You know, the audio
Okay.
design shouldn't matter either way. There is some stuff I'm going to say where, okay, it might be PC versus PS5 in a moment. But yeah, so it's just unforgivably amateur audio implementation in this game, which can drive some people nuts. I'm the guy that played Cyberpunk on a PS4 and beat it. So I can put up with this, no problem. But it's just wild that it was released like that, because like that's something very elementary. You know, you don't even have to.
That's so weird. I'm wondering if I had the same issues, but just didn't.
I can review your VODs
because I didn't notice anything.
I can review like.
I didn't notice anything remarkable.
I can review
really.
your VOD for like a couple of areas where I'm talking about, and if I see the same thing, I can point it out to you. This is something that's going to drive me up a wall. I mean, you guys know this, but maybe not everyone listening to the show knows this. My day job is I'm an audiovisual professional. Like, that is what I do. So this is just mind-boggling to me how bad the implementation of the audio in the game is. That being said, I don't care because the game's fucking hilarious and fun. So I'm like, well, whatever. Sometimes the audio is screeching up against the limiter, and sometimes they just forgot to put the limiter on. So it is what it is. The part that's interesting for me is the frame drops that I get. Now I'm playing on PS5, so this could be different than a PC experience. Although PC is usually worse than console when it comes to these things, so maybe not. Sometimes this game looks great, and other times it looks fucking horrible. So you'll go from moments where the game looks like it's running at like 60 frames to 60 frames plus, no problem, to just completely chugging down to like 15. And you're like, what? Why? What's even happening? There's no combat or anything happening. Why are you doing this?
Mine was more stutters for literally like maybe 1 second.
It's brief.
I would get like a second of a stutter.
It gets choked up over.
I had to turn my graphics down a little bit because I started it at like the very best graphics.
And it's not.
And then I had to turn it down.
It's not a pretty enough game that you should have to do that with the kind of power that your PC has. In PS5, I mean, usually it's the opposite, where it's like, oh, okay, all PS5s are the same. Let's just optimize this. But if the same googly eye brain that did the sound had anything to do with the video, I'm not surprised.
Googly eye brain.
Just imagine a brain with those pasty googly eyes on it, like spinning. And that's who I imagine mixing the sound for this game. So it's got problems, and it's just, inexperience. The overall
it's
vision
very much an indie game
of this game and what it is and what it's trying to achieve and what it's actually doing is so good, though I can overlook all of it. I can overlook all of the technical stuff because, man, is it good. It's just fun to play. I'm having a blast with it. And the story is so good.
So good.
Indika is definitely going to get some rose-colored glasses for me when I finish it. This is one of my favorite games I've played in recent memory. So I'm very excited to see it through and finish the game. But I am absolutely loving this. And I'm so glad that it didn't burn me like Pacific Drive did. Previous game I was like so excited for it. Then it's like,
no, I knew you would like Indika. I knew it.
You're not punching trees. Punch this fucking trunk. It's like, fuck you, Pacific Drive. Not punching trunks for fucking 30 hours. Bastards. This wraps the games we've been playing this week. It's time to move on to our final segment of the show. That segment is, of course, called One Up. Kim, I'm going to toss it to you first. What is your one up this week?
So I have 2 ups.
2 ups. Take 2, yeah.
That's what you would call it. But my one up is that there's 2 cool things coming out. So the Rogue Prince of Persia is coming out on the 27th. And I am so excited. It's going to be a great price point, like super worth it. And it's a beautiful game. And I'm really excited. And I'm actually going to have a key to give away on stream. And I'm very, very excited for that.
Awesome.
And I have been anticipating this game and I cannot wait. That's my first one. My second one is that the Skull and Bones Season 2 is coming out on the 28th. The very next day, Skull and Bones Season 2 is coming out.
I was about to say, we haven't heard from Skull and Bones in a minute.
Yeah. Skull and Bones Season 2 is coming out. I'm hoping they learned from Season 1. And it seems like they have. They've definitely changed some stuff up for Season 2. So I'm hoping they learn from Season 1 that we need stuff to do. Like, we have to have stuff to do. Otherwise, there's no point in going in. So I'm hoping. I know a lot of people from my community are really excited to hop back on it and flood the servers again and have a good time like that. And I want to try and do some tournaments and some silly things like they have DAOs, which are like the very first rowboat you get. And I want to do I want to do like DAO tournaments, but there's this one spot on the map where there's a ton of gators that spawn. So I want to do it like gladiator style where we're fighting in DAOs, but there's crocodiles chasing us. So I'm really, really, really hoping for a good season. So yeah, that's on the 28th.
Awesome. Johnny, let's bring it over to you. Do you have a one-up for us this week?
I don't, because you took mine. I was going to talk about Dave the Diver, the Godzilla DLC.
Ah, fair enough. Retroactive one-up.
I'm really
for Johnny.
Yeah, retroactive one-up. And again, time sensitive. So if it's a game that's like kind of on your radar, you should just go ahead and pull the trigger and make sure you get that DLC installed.
My one-up this week is one near and dear to my heart and of great historical significance for you uncultured people who don't know about the Intellivision. Okay, it's one of my favorite consoles of all time. They're always in the shadow of the champs, Atari. But something really fucking cool happened this week. Okay, and I'm not usually like the acquisition stan, but Atari bought Intellivision. Intellivision has kind of been, for those of you that weren't aware, yes, Intellivision still exists or existed as an independent entity. They were kind of floundering around, making a new Amico console that just never got off the ground, even though it looked really cool. Atari bought Intellivision. They're dumping Amico completely, which is fine at this point. Atari's been doing some really cool things of late. They're stepping it up on their game development and putting out more significant releases. They've really been embracing the past. They straight up have released a brand new 2600 that plays the old games. Okay. So, they're just doing cool things, like things that Atari should be doing. They've been putting out good product lately, and they're seemingly finally catching up to 2024. And I think them buying Intellivision is great. Getting their catalog of games is really cool. The things that they were showing on the Amico looked amazing. They basically rebuilt the entire catalog into modern iterations, and we're going to release a system that's like, boom, here you go. And it looked amazing, but it just never worked out. So I'm curious to see what happens. But yeah, if it were 40 years ago, this would be like Sony buying Microsoft or buying the Xbox brand. Like, just absolutely huge.
Yep.
So super cool. Congrats to both Atari and Intellivision. And hopefully this helps cement the brands into a slightly brighter future than where they've been. So
yeah, I know I'm severely dating myself here, but the Intellivision was my first video game console. I think I was 4 or 5 sitting on my parents' bed playing the Intellivision. Before I had the Nintendo, I've got a
beautiful Intellivision 2 over here that we can fire up anytime you want. It definitely has the best version of Burger Time. Belongs to the Intellivision for sure. So the Atari version was so archaic and ugly. Ugh, just terrible. All right. That wraps up this week's episode of the Power Gamer Podcast. We will, of course, be back again next week with another great episode for you to enjoy. Until that time, I'm Mike Dawson.
I'm Johnny Poulos.
I am Kim. I'm going to be playing with Pixel Boobies tomorrow, Ponticello.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Get your own flip-flop.
Yeah.
It will.